Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Book of Science. Today I am teaching about 8th class biology, 4th chapter ecosystem. First of all, we learn the introduction. We see around a vast variety of organisms living in various types of conditions on land and in water. So on the land and water we can watch different types of animals and plants also. Plants and animals are called living things. Next, there are large agricultural fields, forests, ponds, lakes, rivers, seas, oceans, etc. and hot deserts, snow, cold mountains also. Here in the forest is the one of the example of ecosystem. Ponds, lakes, rivers are also one type of the ecosystem. In this chapter we can learn the forest ecosystem. For example, in the forest there are so many different types of plants and various varieties of animals living together. All the plants and animals are adapted to live only in their respective type of geographical areas. We can learn ecosystem. What is the meaning of ecosystem? An ecosystem is a self-contained area composed of all the different organisms living in it. Different organisms means it's plants and animals. Organisms means animals and interacting with each other. In the ecosystem we can learn plants and animals, how they interacted, how they help to each other we can learn. And interacting with the physical conditions also. Interacting with physical conditions like sunlight, air, water, soil, climate conditions, etc. in the soil. Ecosystem is derived from the Greek word. Ecos means house. Ecos means house, a dwelling place with the inhabitants living together and interacting with each other in definite ways. So this interaction, the plants and animals are interacting. What is the purpose? It is primarily for food. That eat and be eaten. Better understanding, we take the example of pond or forest. In this chapter we can take example of forest. Here in the ecosystem we take one example. For example, we take forest. Plants and animals living in the forest and how they interacting with each other and how they help to each other in the ecosystem. Example, forest ecosystem. In a forest, any other ecosystem, the general chain of relationship among the organisms is same. It means the food producers. Producers means they prepare their own food. It means green plants. Plants prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So plants are called producers, food producers. So this is the basic level. And the food consumers. Consumers means animals. So the food consumers depends on each other. Forest is a ecosystem. Forest is large area of land with dense growth of trees and large varieties of shrubs, bushes, grasses, etc. So at the same time in the forest there are so many varieties of wild animals living in there. In this chapter, the plants and animals living in the forest and how they interact with each other. First of all, we can learn what is the meaning of autotrophs. What is the meaning of producers? Auto means self. Troph means food. It means all the plants produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis, and it is the categorized by autotrophs or self food producers. They produce the food The green plants produce the food. So it is called self-food producers or autotrophs. Auto means own or self. So self-food producers. Next, primary consumers. Plant eating animals are called herbivores. Herbs means plants. So plant eating animals are called herbivores. They eat plant directly or eat fruits, flowers, etc. or suck the plant juices also. For example, deer, rabbits, pigeons, parrots. Insects suck the juices, leaf juices. For example, grasshopper, crickets, butterflies, bees, etc. Next one, secondary consumer. Secondary consumer. This is primary consumer or herbivores. It eats the plants. But secondary consumer means the animals which eat flesh or meat. They are called carnivores. The animals which capture the herbivores and eat their flesh, they are categorized by carnivores or secondary consumers. So these are secondary consumers or carnivores. Carnivore means flesh eating animals or meat eating animals. Next one. Next, one more stage of food level also possible in a forest. What is that? One more level. Here, for example, we take grass, grasshopper, frog, snake. First of all, grass eaten by grasshopper. Here, grass is the producer. Producer means it produces food or they prepare their own food, autotrophs. Grasshopper eaten by a frog. So here grasshopper is herbivores. So primary consumer. Next, frog. Frog eaten by a snake. Here the frog is the secondary consumer. Here we learn the topic secondary consumer till the secondary consumer. Next level, that is the snake eaten by a peacock. This is another level, another food level. It is called tertiary consumer. We can learn this example clearly. Grass. Grass is the producer or autotrophs. Grasshopper is primary consumer or herbivore. Frog is secondary consumer or flesh eating carnivore. Snake is tertiary consumer. Here the peacock is another food level, tertiary consumer. All the food levels are called trophic levels. All the food levels means producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. So these all types are called food levels. So these food levels is called trophic levels. Here eating the dead ones. Eating the dead ones means, for example, a tiger killed a deer for the food, but the tiger didn't eat total flesh of the deer dead body. But it remaining dead body, what happened? So this is the answer. All the animals depend on other animals for food. If the body is dead, the remaining flesh eats scavengers. Otherwise, it will spoil the ecosystem. The dead material is broken down and mixed in the soil because of bacteria, fungi. It helps the nutrients return to the soil for the plant's growth. Here, the animals kill the another animal for the food, and the remaining flesh is eaten by scavengers. If the scavengers is not there, what will happen? The dead material will spoil. If the dead material is spoiled, the ecosystem also disturbed. So the dead material is broken down and mixed in the soil because of the different types of the bacteria and fungi. So whenever the dead material is broken down and mixed in the soil, it increases the nutrients in the soil. So the nutrients is increased in the soil, it helps to the growth of the plant. So the plants and animals are interacting with the each other. Next, pond and forest is the food chains as follows. Here this is the small mind map. First one, base producers. Producers are green plants or autotrophs. Next, primary consumers. This is herbivores, means herbs means plants, plant eating animals. Next, secondary consumers. Secondary consumers means flesh eating animals. It is called carnivores. Primary means first. Primary means first. So primary carnivores. Next, tertiary consumers. It is also carnivores. It is eaten flesh, but it is secondary carnivores. Secondary carnivores means tertiary consumers. So this is the stages of the producers: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Thank you everyone. Please subscribe to my channel.